A high-stakes meeting in Manila as diplomats of two superpowers seek common ground. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi have just met on the sidelines of the ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting. The two are laying the groundwork for a possible visit by China's Xi Jinping to the U.S. in September. Mr. Rubio says relations have been more stable since they reached a temporary trade truce last year.
And obviously there are areas of great differences. Both sides will acknowledge that. We'll have to work through those, and I think these differences will exist for the foreseeable future. And our job is to sort of manage those so that they never get out of control.
Also today, more pushback from the Philippines after the latest confrontation between Chinese and Filipino sailors in the South China Sea. Manila's top envoy, Maria Theresa Lazaro, lodged a strong protest with Mr. Wang over what she describes as unacceptable actions in disputed waters. And also on the sidelines of ASEAN, Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong reiterating the importance of transparency and respect for international law in the Indo-Pacific. CNA senior correspondent Tan Su-hui has Beijing's response.
China has since stepped up efforts to reinforce its position, and so far, just earlier, the Foreign Affairs Ministry had responded by calling on other states not to interfere on the South China Sea issue.
明眼人都看得出，海上亦有风吹草动，不问青红皂白，就大张旗鼓跳出来反对中国的，始终就是那么一小撮国家。 他们的目的究竟是维护南海和平稳定，还是唯恐南海不乱，早已不言自明。
The second issue that was being mentioned by other states would be the recent missile tests by China in the Pacific. The Australian Foreign Minister regards these actions as destabilizing. The Foreign Affairs Ministry also in the same press conference said and reiterated that this is routine military training activities of the Chinese armed forces, and said that they had already given prior notice to Australia and other states when it came to its missile tests, and they also said that this was not directed to any specific country and is in accordance with international law. But already previously, Australia and New Zealand said that there was not enough lead-up time before the missile launch was issued, and also Japan had said that this was done without transparency.
And for the latest, CNA senior correspondent Leong Wai Kit joins us from the ASEAN meeting in Metro Manila. Wai Kit, despite President Trump's threats, Mr. Rubio struck a more constructive tone after meeting his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi. What does this signal then about US-China ties?
Exactly, Angie, and you said it earlier that the two countries are paving the way, laying the groundwork for another Trump-Xi meeting. And this is precisely why the talks between US and China on the sidelines of ASEAN came across as generally positive, because they'll have to lay that groundwork and keep that optics going. Now, US and China have met. US and China have also separately met ASEAN earlier today. And during the meetings, one common concern was the Strait of Hormuz. Now, US, during the ASEAN meeting, had said that if Iran were allowed to take control of the Strait of Hormuz and slap toll fees on those waters, then that sets a very dangerous precedent that could be repeated elsewhere in the world, including in this region. Now, Mr. Rubio had also talked about China in the context of the Iran conflict and the Strait of Hormuz. Let's take a listen.
I think the Chinese, and I'll let them tell you, but I don't think they're big fans of what Iran is trying to do in the Straits. In fact, they've said so publicly that they oppose tolling or any sort of restraint on freedom of navigation in the Straits. And, you know, we hope they'll continue to say that, and it's important that other countries say that as well.
Now, I must also add that these shared sentiments are also in line with how ASEAN views maritime security.
Yeah, well, Wai Kit, US-China relations aside, as you said, maritime security has dominated discussions in Manila, and that ranges from the latest disputes in the South China Sea, but also to concerns raised by both Australia and Japan. How is ASEAN navigating all of this?
Well, the quick answer is very carefully, because all these maritime concerns only drills in the point that ASEAN will have to speed up the work on issues like the Code of Conduct negotiations with China. Now, as you said, maritime concerns are high on the priority. In the last 2 days, we have heard developments between China and the Philippines on the South China Sea. And of course, Australia has also raised concerns, and this will build on my colleague Tan Sway's point about Australia raising concerns on the Indo-Pacific, because when she was here, Ms. Penny Wong had also raised concerns about China's drills that were held in the South Pacific, and Australia had then described those exercises as destabilizing. Back then, the Philippines had also chimed in to say that those drills were a reckless display of military power. Separately, Japan had also raised safety concerns regarding China and Russia's joint drills that were held near Japan's economic waters. But as we know, China's view is that these are just regular military drills that are not targeted at any third party.
Now, the Quad ministers, the foreign ministers, also met on the sidelines. What were some of the key takeaways from that meeting? And how does it all fit into the broader strategic picture right now in the Indo-Pacific?
Right, that broad strategic picture from ASEAN's point of view is that it can take heart that it still has convening power, meaning they're able to attract countries, dialogue partners to come to the ASEAN table, to not just have formal dialogues with ASEAN, but also create sideline conversations, corridor diplomacy, such as Quad, and as well as various bilateral meetings. In fact, one of those earlier today was a meeting between Japan and US, where they talked about Japan-China ties. Let's take a listen.
It's a troubling trend. I don't think that China-Japan relations are at their high point right now. We're very close to Japan. We have treaty obligations with Japan. We have deep history of cooperation with Japan, and that's going to continue.
Now, back to your earlier point, Angie, about Quad members meeting on the sidelines. Interestingly, about 10 years ago in 2017, Quad members had revived their regular meetings right here in Manila and also on the sidelines of an ASEAN meeting. Now, back then, as well as today, their common concerns still revolve around China's aggression, China's assertiveness on the maritime front. Of course, we know how China views Quad. China has used language such as promoting Cold War mentality and bloc politics targeting third parties.
Wai Kit, thank you so much for bringing us the latest. That was CNA's senior correspondent Leong Wai Kit live in Metro Manila.